Igor is a DPS whose damage lives and dies by his ultimate, but landing that ultimate at full power requires his whole family backing him up. Welcome to another Reverse 1999 video, and today we're looking at Igor, an ultimate DPS unlike anything we've seen before. As a new ultimate DPS, Igor's ultimate is quite different from the usual kind. He has 12 max Moxie instead of 5, and his ultimate will cost 8 Moxies to happen. Rather than casting it manually, it fires automatically at the end of the turn if he has enough Moxie. The targeting of this ultimate will be random unless you mark an enemy with his skill 1 beforehand, and you'll almost always want to do that as the main target will take significantly more damage. At base, the ultimate deals 1800% damage to the main target and 900% to everyone else. It's okay damage for today's standard, but it's far from his ceiling, as there are two systems that can push it much higher: bullets and shrapnel. Bullets are the simpler of the two. For each bullet type Igor currently holds, his ultimate gains 8% more ultimate might scaling. His skill 2 is his main way of loading up, granting him 2 out of 6 bullet types from his arsenal with 4 rounds each. Since Igor attacks twice per turn, he burns through all 4 rounds in just 2 turns, and without help, those bullets won't actually last long enough. That's where Lopera comes in, since her ultimate array will prevent bullet effects from depleting. On top of that, she will also be able to provide him with 2 types of bullet herself. Yes, at base, her skill 1 only converts her flame bullets into incantation bullets for the character in front of her and ultimate bullets for the character behind. However, Igor's named synergy with her let her also gift bullets in the opposite direction with her ultimate. This led all the teammates to have both the types of bullet from her. Now, Shrapnel is where the real scaling happens. It's a stacking debuff applied to enemies, and Igor's ultimate will consume it for 25% multiplier per stack, maxing out at 2500% with 100 stacks. Combined with his base damage, that brings the total against the main target to 4300%. Igor has several ways to stack Shrapnel. By default, his skill 1 applies 5 to 9 shrapnel to the primary target. He also has a passive that activates when the team includes 1 or 2 additional beast allies. This passive further boosts skill 1 by adding extra shrapnel application, while also causing all allied to single target and ultimate attacks to inflict shrapnel on hit. His named synergy with Molder adds even more. Every time she uses her ultimate, including the ones triggered by her counter, she applies 12 shrapnel to all enemies. And lastly, his skill 2 provides a buff called War Simulation, stacked based on how much ammo Igor currently holds. Right before his ultimate fires, every stack of War Simulation causes him to copy an extra 8% of all shrapnel across all enemies onto the main target, making max stack actually possible in AoE scenarios. Before we move on to the rotation part of the things, there is just one more part of his kit you need to know, which is Moxie Generations. With a good rotation, Igor will be able to cast his ultimate every single turn. But to make that happen, he will need to generate at least 8 Moxie per turn. Fortunately, he gets quite a bit for free. His skill 1 gives him 2 on use, and his skill 2 gives him 1, so using both in a turn is already 3. On top of that, every time any ally uses their ultimate, Igor gains 1 Moxie, including from his own. The rest will mostly come from Moldir. Each time she uses her ultimate, she grants Igor a total of 3 Moxies, including the ultimate triggered by her counter every other turn. On top of that, her skill 1 will apply Moxie Extraction, which can either squeeze even more Moxie out of her for Igor, or be redirected to Lopera to help maintain her array. With all that covered, let's now look at some rotation tips and also the team options. For each of Igor's ultimates, you want to use both skill 1 and skill 2 at least once, with skill 1 on your primary target. The mark and the buffs will make a meaningful difference in how hard the ultimate hits on the target you want. With Moldir, you need to keep both her AP plus 1 effect and her counter ultimates running consistently. The counter procs every other turn, and they're your most reliable source of bonus Moxie and additional crit damage. One thing that catches people off guard is how tight this team is on action points. You technically only need 2 AP for Igor and around 2 for Molder, but ultimates come up frequently across the whole team, and if you let them pile up, they'll clog the deck fast. Lopera also needs some attention. She gains 1 free Moxie per turn from her follow-up, but her array only lasts 3 turns. To maintain full uptime, you need to generate 2 extra Moxie for her every 3 turns, which usually means slotting in her skill 1 once per rotation. Because the team is already this busy, passive sustains tend to work best here. That said, if pure damage is the goal, Fatudu pulls ahead thanks to her superior debuffing. Just keep in mind she offers less survivability, which can be a problem in harder content. For players missing Lapera or Molder, more generic ultimate supports and Flutter Page can fill the gap, but the damage loss will be pretty significant. No matter how much damage bonus Flutter Page brings, she can't replace the Moxie that Molder provides, as that Moxie is what lets Igor fire his ultimate every single turn. For Resonance, just stack as much attack as possible. His family already provides a large amount of crit, so you don't need to chase it further. It's also worth unlocking his elucidation frequency. The team doesn't give him a huge amount of ultimate might, so every bit helps. On that note, his signature Psychube provides a solid chunk of ultimate might, though it scales with how many beast allies are on the team, so you'll want a full beast lineup to get the most out of it. Noir's Psychube is a strong alternative, offering base ultimate might and bonus damage based on debuffs on the enemy. And between Igor's bullets and Lopera's burn, this team naturally applies 3 stacks without much effort. One Psychube to avoid is Recoletta's. While it looks like a good fit, there's an issue in how Igor's ultimate works. Because for Igor, consuming Moxie and casting the ultimate are treated as 2 separate actions. That means the Moxie he consumed for it won't actually register with the Psychube. For portraits, the biggest breakpoint is just his P1. It straightforwardly boosts how much multiplier each Shrapnel stack contributes to his ultimate, which is a big damage increase on its own. It also gives him 1 extra Moxie whenever an ally uses their ultimate, making it much less likely he'll miss a turn without firing. This portrait alone brings around a 30% damage increase, and puts him in range of competing with the true limited teams currently sitting at the top of the meta. P5 drops his Moxie cost per ultimate from 8 to 6, which opens the door for him to fire twice in a single turn. The second hit won't be nearly as powerful since all the buffs and shrapnel are consumed on the first, but the extra damage still adds up to roughly another 30% bump overall. And outside of his own portrait, another portrait I want to talk about is Moldir's P1. Just like everyone with AP plus 1, it provides her AP plus 1 effect an extra turn. It may not look much, but the extra safety net it provides for this team is very nice. And that's Igor. As a DPS, he's fairly solid, especially if you have his family. Still, without at least P1, he'll struggle to keep up with the true limited teams dominating the meta. With that being said, what do you think about the kind of named synergy Igor has on his passive? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, this has been Steamed Bun X. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.